All right, let's move today to the meeting of the Reserve Bank, and the decision as predicted to keep the cash rate on hold at 4.10%. Joining me now to discuss this, Judo Bank's economic advisor, Warren Hogan. No surprises here, Warren. The bank noted that conditions are still and I quote, restrictive. There was quite a decent exchange with the Governor, Michelle Bullock, after the decision. She went into some of the reasoning. She made the point it was a consensus decision. What did you make from her comments today?
Yeah, good evening, Peter. Very, very big swing from the sort of decision around a rate cut 6 weeks ago. And I think, of course, this is further evidence that there's not a series of rate cuts coming, which does beg the question about why they did the rate cut in the first place. But the restrictiveness that they're identifying, i.e. rates are higher than neutral, is all you need to know in terms of economic management. And that is, we are seeing rates remain elevated above neutral because government policy is propping up inflation. And if there was a different fiscal strategy, then I think rates would be lower. That's the message, I think, the political message from this, even though the RBA governor herself has done everything today to stay out of the political line of fire.
And do you think that they would have poured over the budget and seen there was no strategy there, that there was still out of control spending, there was no debt strategy, there were deficits as far as the eye can see? Are they the sort of things that would have been on the table in today's discussion?
Well, I think the fact that they were not on the table speaks volumes. The governor did actually say pretty much the budget as it came out was factored into their forecast from February, which is to say record levels of government spend, record levels of government spending growth outside of times of crisis. And of course, the government had an opportunity to sort of shift or at least not do all this new spending and tax cuts, and they didn't. So the fact that nothing changed is that message that they're not helping us bring rates down.
Gotcha. So we warned you, we wanted to see some action, we didn't see it, so we've been forced into this hold position. Hey, talk to me about the Coalition's policy today. They've made a pledge to shake up home lending rules, particularly relevant to young Australians. This is about the serviceability, the loan buffer. Currently it's 3%. They say it should come down to 2.5%. What's your thoughts here?
Look, I'm not sure it's going to do much. I mean, it may let a few more people in. This is all about, having the ability to access a loan. The reality is these sorts of measures increase demand. That only puts upward pressure on house prices. We know the solution is that we have to get about building. I prefer the Coalition to focus on sort of putting pressure on state and local governments to increase housing supply.
We saw a story today that a whole lot of your economic brethren are concerned in the swag of demands from the Greens that if they are in a position to negotiate with the government in the event of a hung parliament, their wish list runs to some $110 billion. They want to hike taxes on billionaires, on miners, on so-called excessive profits of big corporations. I have no doubt, Warren, that death duties and all the other holy grails of the left will also be on the table too. What did you make of this?
Well, I think this just shows you how out of touch with economic reality the Greens are. It's just massive overreach from a party that has no sort of fundamental understanding of the economy and the consequences. I mean, for a start, you cannot raise $100 billion a year by taxing billionaires. I mean, all large corporations, and I'm all for people paying their share and getting more money out of particularly global enterprises, but they're mobile. They will leave if you tax them too much. So you're never going to raise that kind of money out of them. And the fact that they're out there trying to put this forward shows you just how they have no concept of reality. And of course, it's a scary concept to think that they are going to be potentially governing with some influence in the next term of Parliament.
And also, I'll underscore that point you made about, capital being mobile. We've already got a corporate tax rate in this country that's set to be double what it will be when the cuts come into the United States, which makes us completely uncompetitive. Then factor in their cheaper energy, cheaper labour costs, and we're out of the game. Just quickly, Thursday our time, we're going to see this new announcement from the President in the US about tariffs. There's talk of media bargaining codes, our PBS. What are you hearing?
Look, it's really unclear. We've got to wait and see what happens. And even tomorrow, we may not get a full picture of this. But, you know, this is a world that is shifting, and it's a world that's clearly going to be very different and challenging for us. And that means we need to have our budget in order. We need to make sure our economy is operating efficiently. I don't think there's any pending doom for the Australian economy. We're well placed. But of course, we just don't know what it's going to do to the rest of the world, and that will eventually affect us. But it is highly uncertain. This is as uncertain as it gets in terms of the economic outlook.
All right, we'll leave it there. Warren Hogan, thanks very much.